Okay, today we're going to talk about fist in the cranium. Fist, brain. Fist in the cranium. Isn't that an interesting concept? Okay, fist in the cranium. So here's how it came to me. This is a living principle. Living principles are alive with meaning. They can change your viewpoint. They can change your position. So I was actually in this position. You know how we talk about this position, duality, good versus bad, right versus wrong, heaven versus hell. Okay, certainly not in alignment with my soul source, the Christ within me. Okay, and so I was learning this stuff. So many years ago, my children were really experiencing some suffering, and that was me. Okay, I was a legalistic mother. Okay, I was very legalistic. I had rules for everything, and in particular, getting ready, the children ready for school. So the children would hear, grab your hat, get your plane, make your bed, do this, do that, and then you'd have to do it for each child over and over and over and over and over until they were out the door and going to school. Now, I felt that I'd been doing this for years and years and years, and they would know, okay, by this time, how to do their tasks and what was needed for them to go and do a day at school. It was their day at school, not my day at school. Okay, so it's kind of important for them to know what they were doing. Plus, I thought I was preparing them for a future that they could do, if I popped off the planet, that I wasn't available to them, that they could just carry on regardless without me. So at this point in time, I went off and I was sitting on the throne. Nothing very sacred about that. So anyway, I was sitting on the throne, minding my own business, when I had a visitor come and visit me. And yet, there is no respect when it comes to light bodies connecting, okay? Doesn't matter where you are and what you're doing. That's part of the fun of it. So anyway, here I am minding my own business. I get a visitor who says to me, today I want you to watch the children, okay? I don't want you to do anything for them, just observe, okay? And as I vacated the loo, it was interesting because within a minute or so, my husband at the time said to me, you know what? I'm not doing anything for the children today. They can do and get themselves ready. Right, okay, respect. Something's going on here. So I made a cuppa, okay, made a cup of tea, sat in my hammock, okay, and watched the children for about 45 minutes to an hour. And do you know what? They knew they had to go to school and they did nothing. They were walking around like mindless cattle. They could not think to put their life or their day together. It was just amazing to watch. And I have to say, I was absolutely gobsmacked by it. I did not know that I had so incapacitated them that they couldn't even think for themselves. I have to say to you that I spent the rest of the day crying. I cried for hours and hours. It was like, oh my God. I just wanted them to be able to function for themselves. I thought that they could do that. And yet by 3 children, they were unable to think for themselves. And then when I realized this and they were finally off to school, and in the middle of all those tears, my visitor came back to me and said, you are to take your fist out of the cranium of their mind, okay, and I will heal the land of their mind. It was something like that. So it's like, we will take the fist, you take a fist out of your cranium and we will heal the land of their mind. Now, what happened? I had to actually take my fist out of their cranium, which means I had to let go. I could not any longer be controlling what it is that they were doing and what it is that they were learning. They had to come to a place of thinking for themselves, of acting out of their own energy volition out of their own reasoning, out of their own ability, out of their own motivation. So doing something out of your own energy volition is not doing something because you're told to do it, but doing something because you want to do it. I rise to go and do what I want. I have my board of directors, my triune being, my soul within me that is governing me to go and do what I am to do next. But with a fist in the cranium, okay, a person, if you can tell a person who's had a fist put in their cranium, okay, and that sounds really odd, but I want you to be able to visualize it. If a person has a fist in their cranium, okay, whether they do it to themselves or whether they've had it done to them, they will not be able to think. They will not be able to think for themselves. And I was one of those people. I was too frightened to make a decision. I couldn't think for myself, okay? I was unable to, people ask questions like, what do you want to do when you grow up? I don't know. I can't think. My mind goes blank. There's so many people like this that have experienced all types of abuse, okay, that cannot think for themselves. They're too frightened to think because of consequences, or I'm going to get in trouble for it, or I'm being tricked, okay? And we've been taught in the system not to trust ourselves, not to trust what comes to us. And indeed, when you've got a fist in your cranium, you have nothing come to you. It is blank. You're not able to think, okay? You can't even draw a thought on what you'd like to be doing in your life or what you'd want to be experiencing next. It's such a sad condition. And just as it has happened in the individuals, okay, who've been oppressed, okay, and are unable to think for themselves, have come into a mental health state from abuse, trauma over long periods of time, whatever it is that has shut you down, you cannot think for yourself. I say to you, take the fist out of your cranium. Okay, it doesn't matter whether it be from a parent, from a school, from the way you've been taught, from the government or whatever. Take that fist out of your cranium so that you can think for yourself. And then trust your thoughts. Trust the thoughts that actually come to you. Trust in what you're about to do. Trust in that, I made a decision. It can be the simplest decision, but go and do what you actually thought to do until you trust that you are free thinking, that you are self-governing, and that you have the land of your mind will be healed. Okay, your soul will come in and fill that space so you do not have to be concerned that you are alone and that you may make a mistake. It is so important to understand that you need to heal the land of your mind. Take the fist out of the cranium. It was pretty strange for about 6 months. Okay, I had 3 children. Okay, and when I took my fist out of their cranium, they actually had to begin. First, it was a whole lot of surprise that Mum wasn't actually saying all of these things over and over and over and guiding them. And then 2, they were suffering natural consequences like no hat, no play. Okay, oh, you didn't bring your homework. I'm sorry, you'll remember it next time. And doing those things to prepare themselves for their own life. And so people who are totally unprepared for life, they can't actually get ready for what they are about to live. And this goes for children and adults who've learned this, okay? So children need to learn so that they can think for themselves, so they can know that it's their day at school, not yours, that they need clothes, so they need to actually put it into the laundry. My children all went to Montessori, so it was like, okay, they learned how to do these things. They knew the full cycle of something. But we, from a parenting perspective, often just do stuff for the children and they don't even know the full cycle. They go, how do my undies get in that drawer? Well, they don't even think about it. They just expect it to show up. And the parents, you're not helping them because they don't understand the full cycle of anything. And they don't live the natural consequences of not having undies in the drawer. Okay, that's a pain. All right, but hey, it makes me, reminds me that, hey, I've got to pick them up off the bathroom floor, put them in the basket, get them to the washing and the laundry. put them into the washing machine. Okay, take them to the line, whatever it is. Bring them from the line, pack it all together, pop it back into the drawer. Oh, that's where it comes from. Okay. So, oh my God, we save ourselves a fortune of time, okay, when we accelerate this process to allow a person to become self-governing by taking the fist out of the cranium and allowing the land of their mind to heal. And then I suddenly saw, or not suddenly, but yeah, after a very short period of time, I actually saw my kids actually start cleaning up their room, just because it got to a point that they needed to take responsibility. And finally they did. And then we talked about lots of other things that came along. So this came from a visitor, okay, that came in and showed me what I had to do to create change from debilitating my children, okay, in such a terrible way. If I'd actually popped off the planet, they would have been very, very distressed, okay, and unable to think for themselves. From that time on, okay, after that it was like, no, if you want to go and see someone, you make the appointment, okay? If you want to see someone, you make a lift happen. You do everything yourself, and they became self-governing. And I'm so proud of each and every one of them right now. The fist in the cranium is so that you can think for yourself, that you can trust the thoughts that you have that comes from your innermost being, okay, when you project out what it is that you want. And it comes from being able to discern what belongs to others and what is actually mine. And I used to have things as a mum mixed around, okay? And that's why the book is so important to read, Diamond Matrix Master Self-Mastery Level 1, because we're setting the children free, we're setting each other free, and I can't quite get that out. Okay, all of this newfangled, dangled equipment. Anyway, but fist in the cranium, I want you to be mindful of it. I want you to look. If I asked you, what are you meant to be doing with your life, and you can't think, it's very likely that you've had a fist in your cranium. Okay, so get that fist out of your cranium. Okay, renew and heal the land of your mind so that you can make decisions and be spontaneous and be intuitive and be able to take action to doing what it is that you need to be doing on this planet. Because we need you to work in your time and space, in your family, in your community, to bring healing and wholeness and powerful change in this new time of new diamond frequencies. So reminding you of the fist in the cranium. Do you know that this doesn't just happen in the individual? It happens within a family. It happens within a community. It happens at school. Okay? It happens within a nation. Okay? This was exactly the same as when Gorbachev freed the nation and came into democracy. And those that had the those that had the fist in the cranium absolutely went into an impoverished state. Okay, they could not fend for themselves, they could not think for themselves. It was absolutely devastating to them. To the young ones who were able to come up into the free world, ran business enterprises and all the rest of it, they could think for themselves, they could express, they could create for themselves, and they absolutely loved it. And I was shown this later that Gorbachev actually had this happen in his own nation state. So this happens on every level. This is a principle, a quantum principle of the fist in the cranium. How cool is that? All right, so be mindful. Pull out any fists out of your cranium. Pull your fist out of the craniums of those that you have your fist in. Okay? And let's start minding our own energetic business so that we can allow them to heal and flourish and be a creator in their own right. Okay, diamond blessings. Love you heaps. See you on the other side.